really excited today here. I first heard about Bitcoin in April of 2011. I read an article about Silk Road. I wasn't really into drugs, but the Bitcoin part of it was really exciting to me. I thought having like a decentralized currency that anyone can participate in, and you don't have to rely on central banks, and the currency has a fixed quantity, so you can just print as many coins as you want, or the government can't print money. I think that's really powerful. So I started researching it. I pretty much read everything I can about Bitcoin at that time. And back then in 2011, you can really read everything about Bitcoin online, which is pretty amazing. And so I did that. I pretty much lived, breathed, and did everything related to Bitcoin, just trying to absorb everything. And because of the Silk Road article, the price shot up to $30, which is when I bought my first Bitcoin at $30. And then soon after I bought my first Bitcoin, it kept dropping and dropping and dropping. All the hacks came out. Mt. Gox got hacked. The price kept falling, and then and that was how I started. Before I found out about Bitcoin, I actually traded gold and gold futures commodities. So I had experience with gold and silver in terms of how it's good money. And so when I created Litecoin, I actually did set out to try to create the silver to Bitcoin's gold, realizing that Bitcoin is really good for money, and wanted to create something that's just easier to use, so made it faster, like 2.5 minutes as opposed to 10 minutes confirmation, and created more Litecoin, 84 million as opposed to 21 million. So I had that in mind when I created Litecoin. Yeah, so I recently, a few months ago, left Coinbase to focus solely on Litecoin. So that's what I'm doing, focusing my time just basically all on Litecoin, and actually just mostly on cryptocurrency in general, right? I want Bitcoin to succeed also. Bitcoin succeeding will pave the way for all these other coins and for Litecoin. In terms of what I see for Litecoin, a few things I want to add to Litecoin is the ability to do more smart contract type stuff. Something similar to Ethereum, but maybe not as fully functional, but just being able to do more smart things with money. Actually, my Twitter handle used to be Litecoin Cobbly, which is the username, the handle I used on Reddit, on Bitcoin Talk forums, Cobbly. And Cobbly was taken, so I used Litecoin Cobbly. But it was just kind of a mouthful. And then I think someone mentioned that, I don't remember exactly when this happened, but someone called me Satoshi Lite, and that kind of just stuck. And I decided to change the Twitter handle to Satoshi Lite, like the light version of Satoshi. And funny thing is, someone actually grabbed my old handle and tried to pretend to be me, because a lot of old tweets and everything was linking to Litecoin Cobbly. So I had to message Twitter and ask them to take it down. I think Litecoin and Bitcoin would work together for these merchants, right? I don't see Bitcoin is kind of paving the way. It's definitely getting all the merchants to understand Bitcoin, and Litecoin is taking advantage of that. Eventually, you can see the bigger companies are setting both.
Now, if I was the CEO of Overstock.com, would it be more troublesome to use Litecoin as well if I'm already comfortable with Bitcoin?
No, because it's actually, the technology is very similar, right? A merchant processing tool can help them accept both without real any headache, right? It's not like once you accept Bitcoin, like adding Litecoin is that much more work. It's very little work. So so it's kind of like, I think it will be very easy for merchants to accept it.
And right now they currently coexist. Do you think for the future they can still exist at the same time?
Yeah, I don't see why it will be one or the other.
Any more final words about Litecoin that you'd like to educate our viewers about?
Bitcoin and Litecoin, right now it's like in the merchant stage. So in the future I see where your moms and dads will start using Bitcoin and Litecoin to pay for purchases, right? We're not there yet. It's still really hard for them to use cryptocurrency, and not everyone accepts it. But I think we'll get there. It's like once all the merchants start accepting it, or most of the merchants, then people will realize how easy it is to use cryptocurrency for purchases, and then we'll get there.
I sense your vision. What challenges do you see with this vision?
Obviously, regulatory challenges, right? Regulation comes down can make it really hard or onerous for companies to support Bitcoin and Litecoin, and it would slow down innovation and really slow everything down. But my point of view is that it's kind of inevitable, so it's just a matter of time. So regulation can slow it down, but it can't really kill it.
Now, you being the creator of Litecoin and kind of creating the business plan, what is the future in your business plan for Litecoin?
The next steps, so what I'm working on is talking to Bitcoin companies or just companies in general to convince them that Litecoin is here to stay and it's a good complement to Bitcoin. Why exchanges should support Bitcoin and Litecoin, why merchants should accept Bitcoin and Litecoin, how that helps them.
The other thing I want to add to Litecoin is more fungibility. So one of the key things that's missing from cryptocurrency or actually from Bitcoin and Litecoin, is fungibility. In terms of good money, it's pretty much like the perfect form of money, except for one aspect, which is it's not very fungible. What I mean by that is that if you send Litecoin to someone else, they can see the whole history of your coin. So each separate Litecoin is not exactly the same. Kind of right now, if I give you a $20 bill, it's not different from any other $20 bill I give you. So it's fungible. You can just use it without worrying about where it came from. For Litecoin and Bitcoin, that's not the case. So fixing that, I think, is quite important in the future. And something I'm looking into is adding something called confidential transaction to Litecoin. This will add the ability to hide the amount that you're sending, and add confidential transactions in addition to something like CoinJoin will give you more fungibility for Litecoin.
We had to think through a lot of strategy and try to figure out what's the best way to launch the exchange. And we also wanted to build the best one out there, right? We want to build a US-based regulated exchange, but we also want to be like the most secure, the fastest, supporting high-frequency trading via API. So we built a really good team and built the exchange from scratch pretty much. So it wasn't relying on the Coinbase infrastructure. So we kind of built it from scratch, and it's really fast, it's really good, and I think it's doing really well.
What are your current thoughts on the state of Litecoin?
The state of Litecoin. So a lot of people are kind of disheartened in the Litecoin community because of the price. Earlier, like a year and a half ago, when the Bitcoin price shot up to 1,000, the Litecoin price shot up to like over $40. And because Litecoin is such a speculative currency, it's even more speculative than Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin price goes up, Litecoin price goes up even more. And I think the inverse is also true. So it's a huge drop for Litecoin, and that has gotten, like, a lot of people got in when the price went up. Similar to how I got into Bitcoin when it hit $30, because everyone hears about it and they got all excited and buy into Bitcoin at that time, and then it dropped to $2, and a lot of people got sold because they thought it was going to die. And I think the same thing is happening to Litecoin. And Litecoin is kind of in a similar state that Bitcoin was in 2011, right? It's more of a speculative currency. Some merchants support it, but not a lot. The trade volume is really high, but real world use case is still pretty small. So I think it will take some more time for Litecoin price to come back. But if Bitcoin ever comes back, which I believe it will, Litecoin will follow. So altcoins, there's quite a few different altcoins. Like, there's a lot of scams in the altcoin space where the creator would create an altcoin and try to market it as something really special and convince people to buy in at the price. And the creator might have pre-mined a lot of coins, or just posted fake information about, like take Paycoin for example. I'm not sure that it's a scam, but it just seems like it from now, from looking at right now, where they announced that they have partnership with Amazon, with Walmart accepting Paycoin, and the price, and then they also announced they're going to back the coin at $20, right? They're going to buy the coin at $20, so there's a price floor, which is ridiculous if you think about it. But people get suckered into it. They buy the coin at $15 thinking that, oh, it's going to go to 20 because some company is going to buy it back at 20. So it's obviously going to make the money. And sadly, greed is what motivates people, and then they get hurt. So there's a lot of that going on in the altcoin space. Then there's also altcoins that are really trying to do something different, and it's hard for these coins to actually kind of bubble to the top, so to speak. It's hard for these coins to actually convince users that they're not scams. They're actually trying to do something interesting and different. And unfortunately, because it's such a messy environment, it's almost impossible to filter out, to separate the scams versus the non-scams. And also, I think it's a little bit too early for the altcoin scene. Kind of Bitcoin has not really succeeded yet. So, and Bitcoin is the main cryptocurrency. I think it will be next to impossible for any altcoin to overtake Bitcoin. So in terms of the timing, like if you can't convince the average person why Bitcoin is useful, why they should hold Bitcoin, good luck trying to convince them about any other altcoin. So I think over time, as Bitcoin becomes really used by everyone, then you'll start to see the 2 or 3 major altcoins take its space alongside Bitcoin as also useful alternative currencies.